Hello, my name is Ilya Netis, and today I have a presentation on Chapter 4, The Geography of Life. This lecture is based on the book Why Evolution is True by Jerry A. Coyne. In order for this chapter to make sense, we first need to understand what biogeography is. Biogeography is a branch of biology that deals with the study of the geographical distribution of animals and plants. For this term to make sense, three factors need to play a crucial role. The first factor is a changing Earth. The second factor is vicariance or dispersal. Vicariance is basically the geographical separation of a population, typically by a physical barrier, such as a mountain, range, or river, and it results in a pair of closely related species. Dispersal, on the other hand, refers to both the movement of individuals, such as animals, plants, fungi, bacteria, etc., from their birth site to their breeding site, as well as the movement from the breeding site to another. And lastly, the third factor is evolution. However, there are such a thing as endemic species. An endemic is an animal or a plant that is restricted to one area. An example of this is the San Fernandez Island, which is home to the fur seal and the Juan Fernandez firecrown. Only these animals are known to be on this island. Contingency also plays a role on the Juan Fernandez Islands. Contingency is a chance, an accident, or a possibility conditional on something uncertain. Like I said, this is an example on the San Fernandez Islands where several species found a way to the island by luck. Several cats, goats, and mice, or rats, can be found on the island. Maybe the ships brought them in a long time ago. Charles Darwin was an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist. He is best known for his contributions to the science of evolution. Charles Darwin was the first person to take a long, hard look at the bizarre pattern of life. On his voyage upon the HMS Beagle, Darwin realized that evolution was necessary to explain the origins and forms of plants and animals, but as well as their distribution around the earth. Upon his voyage on the Beagle, Charles Darwin came upon fossilized seashells high in the Andes Mountains located in South America. This gave evidence that the mountains were at some point underwater. Also, his friend, Charles Lyell, discovered that the Earth was not just very old, but as well as in fluctuation. Many years passed, and Darwin later proposed the theory that distributed species were not created and placed by a creator, but by evolution. Today, we have the answers that eluded Charles Darwin approximately 160 years ago. Number one is molecular taxonomy, also known as molecular systematics, is the use of molecular genetics to study the evolution of relationships among individuals and species. And number two, we have continental drift, which is the gradual movement of the continents across the Earth's surface through geological time. But wait just a second. One question you might ask would, why Creator put animals and plants that are different but look similar in different parts of the world that are different? The answer to that question is convergent evolution. It's a species that live in identical environments will undergo similar selection pressures from their environment. Thus, they will converge even though they are unrelated. As a result of this, they will evolve similar behavioral, adaptive, and look-alike characteristics. Convergent evolution shows three parts of the evolutionary theory working together. Number one is natural selection. Natural selection is the process whereby organisms, better adapted to their environment, tend to survive and produce more offspring. Number two is speciation. Speciation is the form of new and distinct species in the course of evolution. And lastly, number three is common ancestry. Common ancestry is the most recent ancestral form of species from which two different species evolved. Geologists have known for a very long time that all the southern continents and their subcontinents experienced a massive period of glaciation during the Permian period, which is approximately 290 million years ago. An example of this is of the fossil Glossopteris. When plotting the distribution of it in the southern hemisphere, which is the only region where they are found, two conclusions were formed. The first conclusion was a strange pattern forms across the southern continents. This pattern can be explained by overseas dispersal, clearly because we don't see trees underwater. Number two is the trees themselves couldn't have migrated. Trees don't walk. Then it's the continents themselves that moved, which carry the trees. Continents are one thing, islands are another. There are two types of islands: continental islands and oceanic islands. Continental islands are islands that were once part of the continents, but over time have separated due to either rising sea levels or the movement of continental plates. On the other hand, oceanic islands are islands that arose from the sea floor as growing volcanoes or coral reefs. They were never a part of the continent. Oceanic islands do not have a large number of species that live on it as opposed to continental islands. Sure, oceanics do have plants, birds, insects, and other arthropods such as spiders, but they are missing land mammals such as elephants, bison or buffalo, reptiles such as iguanas and chameleons, amphibians such as frogs and salamanders, and freshwater fish such as tench and beluga. They're missing because continents and oceanic islands are very far apart, and these animals won't make it. They will probably die on their way to the oceanic island. Thank you for watching my presentation. Have a great day.